Welcome, everyone, and welcome to the very first series of the Palma Yacht Crew vlog right here on Yachting International Radio. And I'm pleased to introduce a really, really special guest for this first one. Loth, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Yourself?
Very good, thank you. And you are with us today from Tanzania.
Correct, yes, from Tanzania.
Yeah. So you've got quite an interesting story, actually. You sort of popped up on Palma Yacht Crew and some of the other sites just recently, advertising the fact that you got a safari, and you're hoping to bring Yacht Crew to sort of teach them a little bit about your tribe and about the area. Tell us a little bit about your safari company.
So basically, my safari company it's called NGPI Safaris, and my main focus is to try get yachts from different countries, US, anywhere around the world to visit Tanzania. Either do a safari, go to Zanzibar, do the cultural visit, especially to my village, which is the Maasai village, and then mostly take the biggest challenge, do Kilimanjaro trekking. So I would love to have as many artists come over here and, maybe have a familiar face, which is me, having been in the industry. Well, it'd be good to have somebody familiar with, with fellow crew on how to run and how to host them.
Well, and it's funny that you bring that up because you were born and raised in a very small village, and it's the Maasai tribe, right?
Correct, yes.
And it was in Longido village, which is at the base of a mountainous region. And the Maasai tribe is really actually well known throughout the world as far as maintaining their culture and continuing, because part of the reason being is that they are also, the tribe is also known for grazing, having cattle grazing on reserve land, etc. But you didn't have the easiest beginning.
No, not at all. It was not that easy to get where I am right now. It wasn't that easy.
Can you tell us a little bit about your sort of early years?
So I am actually from a big extended family. My father had 3 wives, and my mom has 8 kids, and we might like a total of about 15 kids in total from my dad. And he passed away 2005, which then leaves everything really hard for us because in Maasai, the mother just stay at home. She doesn't do much, So when he passed away, we really hit the rock and got very hard on us. And a few years later, I was lucky to get a scholarship in one of the orphanages schools. It's called Peace House. And then it wasn't really going very well a few years later because of funding issues. But then because I was really, maybe I can't really praise myself, but I think I was good at school and sports. I got scholarship in one of the international schools. I'm sure most people knows about the Cambridge system schools. Yeah, that's where I started picking up a lot of things that I learned from, people from different cultures, from different countries.
But it wasn't that easy either, because there was quite a few times where you were sort of without school, or you had to take a year off here or a year off there because you had to look after your siblings. So it really was a struggle to get back to education, especially for those of us that we're just so used to, we have to go to school. There is no exception. You go to school every September and that's it. But for you, you really wanted to go to school. It wasn't something that everybody did, and it wasn't expected.
Yeah, I wanted to go to school, but it was hard because with the Maasai and most African traditions, when the father passed away, the first child becomes the responsible person. So even if you're young, you're still responsible. So in that case, I was left to be the responsible guy. So in most cases, maybe you have to leave school, go back and make sure that your siblings are doing well. Maybe you go take care of your mother. Sometimes you have to go take care of the cows. So it's never really easy. You might stop, and if you can easily give up, you might stop going to school. But I never really wanted to give up because I knew the only way to help and maybe not the easier way, but the better way or efficient was through education. So that's why I wasn't ready to, give up even through the hardship times.
Well, and part of the Maasai tribe, they're known for their fearless warriors, and they're also known for their cattle. So those are the two things that
Uh-huh.
are extremely important. And for a man as well, a sign of success is as many
Mhm.
cattle as he has and as many children as he has, correct?
Correct. That's correct.
So are you going to
Yes.
follow in that tradition?
No, I not only me. I don't think I'm going to do that. Maybe I don't think my girlfriend will be ready for that either way. But you know, but again, I think it has changed with the history, the way I see it, because like my grandfather had six wives, and then my father had three. And over time, with the generation and the economy, how the world has been changing, it's been getting very hard to, being able to accommodate and have many children and wives at the same time. So like the previous time, the weather is really good, so you can have as many cows as you have. But now with the weather and the drought, with how the climate has been changing, you're probably losing a lot of cows every year. So that means you're probably getting a lot poorer every year. So that makes it harder to, being able to accommodate many wives.
Well, when we're talking about climate change, how is that affecting the tribes in your area? And, do you see, is there an overabundance of plastic? I'm assuming that there's not a consumer attitude of plastic in the area. But do you find that there's a big problem with climate change and how it's affecting your lifestyles there?
Yeah, I mean, we like last year, the country introduced and banned, and maybe this will help most of the yachties just in case they'll be coming to Tanzania. That the country really banned the travel with plastic bags, which is a big initiative. So, through the itineraries I'll try to suggest different ways of, packing your bags or ways. But I mean, there's a big and huge change with climate and mostly with plastic bags, and it has really affected everyone, yeah, and especially people with livestock, because you end up feeding all plastic, so which is not healthy and it's not good.
And are you finding that the drought season is longer now than it has been in the past then?
Yes, it's very, very long. I mean, rainy season is unpredictable. It's not guaranteed. You can't really be sure that it's going to rain in December or in May like it was in the previous years. So
Mhm.
it's mostly a lot of drought season and dry season most of the time throughout the year. So which makes it very hard. And if it rains, sometimes it rains maybe a month or maybe 2 weeks and stop, and then you never see another rain. So it gets, like I said, it's big change with the weather right now happening. So it's true there's a big change with how the weather and the climate is really changing in the world.
Well, and I can imagine that with your crops, that the tribes don't traditionally grow a lot of crops, but
No.
I can imagine the crops that you do grow, they're not
Mhm.
getting the kind of water that they would need because if you only have 2 weeks of rain out of the entire year, that water's not actually going to sink into the ground because the ground's going to be too hard to take it in. It's going to run off.
Yeah, honestly, my village we don't farm at all because you
Okay.
you can't really guarantee with rain. In the previous years, I we used to do farming, but with right now we don't do any farming. So we probably have to buy from the areas or from the town to be able to buy food. We don't really do plant enough right now in my village.
So it has affected it quite a bit then, because then you aren't, I mean, obviously, if you're not planting any crops at all, where you used to plant some,
Mhm.
that is a huge effect. That's a huge knock-on effect.
It's a huge because then you have to incur extra cost,
Yeah.
rather than if you were to do it alone. So yes, it's huge effect.
Well, and it's good to hear that plastic bags are banned. That's not the only issue. There's so many other issues, but that is one step in the right direction, and we always encourage everybody if we all make one small change, it doesn't have to be a huge life-changing change, but if everyone makes one small change, it has a huge impact.
Yes, exactly.
So I wanted to ask you where you're from. You're quite a ways away from the nearest body of water, aren't you?
Yes, I am far away. Yeah.
So yachting, I mean, of all the things that this kid growing up at the bottom of this mountain, where did yachting come from? Did you have a love of the sea, or did you want to be part of the sea, or where did that come from?
So it's like not only you guys asking me about the water. I mean, everyone in the country ask me where does the Maasai boy comes and be in the water, because mostly we are known for being scared of water.
Okay.
So literally, the true story is, even when I was doing my training for doing my STCW, I wasn't that comfortable with like going to swim or and all that. But I had to, like, you know what, I have to do it. So how it happened was one of the sponsors, who sponsored me through school. She didn't know much about the yachting, but she knew about the cruise ship. So in one of our conversations, she was saying, it's easier to try to get a job in, cruise ships. Maybe you can try that. So usually when somebody mentions an opportunity for me, I usually take. Maybe not necessarily like do it, but I try see if there is a really opportunity. So went when I went to South Africa to do my courses, I wasn't going to do for yachting. I was going to do for cruise ships. And then in the middle of the training, I started meeting guys the same way in yachting, we are in, cruise ships and all that. So I was like, I'm going to try whatever that comes on my way. And I think when I came to Florida, I was like, okay, I'll try with yachting. And honestly, I think in the first 6 months, I was doing day work, but I knew I wouldn't get a job because I knew I couldn't really swim. But one of the mates that I met, his name is Keegan Ems, was very helpful to help me go swimming, to help me teach me how and got it to how, slowly getting there. So yeah, it wasn't that easy.
So, did you find that, and this is another topic that, some people find uncomfortable, but did you find as a man of color that it was more difficult for you to get into yachting than it would have been for somebody else, for example?
Yes, it is, and I think it's something that we all know, and but we can't really express. But it's an obvious thing in the industry. It's only the honest people will tell you. And I had a lot of mates and a lot of good friends that will tell me it's not easy on you. And maybe not only sometimes not the captain who have an issue, maybe it's the owners who have an issue with the color. So maybe there's a potential job, but you wouldn't get hired. They will probably tell you, like, I would hire you, but you will have a hard time to work maybe with the boss because of who you are and all that. So it is very hard. It's very hard as a man of a color. But again, there's a lot of other captains and chief officers who wouldn't mind giving you a job, who would hire you in a bit as long as you have the and you put your hard work. But yeah, it's very hard as a man of color to get a job.
When you started, have you noticed that maybe attitudes have shifted in the 3 years, or do you think that they've gotten worse because of the political climate that is currently sort of facing the world as a whole?
Um, I think it's it's changed really in a positive way in my perspective. Because I don't know because over time I met people who had a different view of who I am, maybe because I was black and they were worried about me. But over time, when they get to know you, they change because they now know you as a person. So I think we are moving in the right direction on how, over time, people changing when they get to know somebody. So I don't think we are really going back that much. Maybe there is a little bit of slowing because of political issues going, in different countries, but I think we are moving in the right direction, because of the people being open up with people.
Where did you, so you first actually, you were saying in Fort Lauderdale, that's where you got your first job then.
Yes.
And when you were looking, did you actually have any time that you were unemployed and had to do dock walking, or did it just go directly from one job to the next to the next?
I probably maybe had the longest time without a permanent job. It took me time to build the network. It wasn't that easy, but I got plenty of day work. Time I quickly the permanent job, plenty of day work. But it's not allowed to do dock work in the state. It's illegal, so you can't really do it. You're just staying in the crew house and waiting for post for day work, and pop in and run for it, and go for it. You know.
So is that the base, your base then was mainly the US of A?
Yes, my base was in the US.
Okay. So what made you, well, I mean, tell me about your time in yachting. I mean, what was it that you loved the most? What was it that you hated the most? I mean, what was yachting for you? You were in yachting for 3 years before you decided to go home again. Tell me about those 3 years of yachting and the lifestyle and the people you met and what you thought of it.
Uh, I I loved most of it. The most part of it, like it's a very diverse industry. You today you meet somebody from South Africa, tomorrow Australia, tomorrow New Zealand, or from the state or Canada, and from different countries. So that's really a good thing because you get to meet people and learn. And I think I didn't really like the long nights with being on trip with the boss, nonstop. It wasn't that easy the first time, but it's a job which we choose, but it wasn't that the very easy one. But I think it was nice. Another thing I didn't like was most of the time when you go to the events, perspective with people is that you're looking for the job. So most of the time, people are not very ready to initiate the conversation with you. They always trying to try to be busy. So it's not always that easy, especially for the green when you're a green guy in the industry. It's only very few people give you time to actually tell you what you have to do. But most people try to dodge, and so I didn't really like that part where people don't try to avoid you or not give you an advice.
So people weren't as open as you think they should have been.
English is it's like I don't have a position at the moment, or maybe but you can do better. Or if somebody didn't work very hard in the job that day, instead of telling them that I'll call you back, tell them. I have seen a couple of friends who work with me, the next day they don't come back. Maybe they're trying to adapt and they don't know the level of work they needed to deliver. So maybe if you don't want them to come back the next day, it's okay, but just tell them, you haven't given your best today, and I would love you to, give the best on your next job, or on your next day work. I think should be an open, and because the learning, it's a learning industry. It's
Mhm.
not like it's a learning industry. So I think it's better if we are more open to the crew.
So yeah, you have a point because nobody can actually get better unless somebody tells them what they're doing wrong and teaches them the right way to do it. And I think society has sort of made people and things and life in general a bit disposable. And that's such a shame of it because I think there's probably a lot of diamonds in the rough out there that slip through the cracks that shouldn't necessarily slip through those cracks. So after 3 years, you decided that you'd had enough of yachting. Why is that?
Not really enough of yachting. I wouldn't really refresh that way. I maybe there's always an opportunity to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think over time I thought that what's my long future. I have given this time. So I thought, I have always dreamed of coming back to Tanzania. I love my country, and I think it's always the best place to be. So I actually decided to come back. I'm actually also in university right now. I'm studying as well. But at the same time, I knew there's an opportunity with tourism industry, and I wanted to deliver and give back to yachting, at the same time supporting myself in a business way and supporting the local. Mostly try to initiate a way to support my village through my safari company.
Yeah, you've set up a foundation and you're giving back. You're helping to purchase books and pens and pencils and things to help educate the children in the village, correct?
Correct, and I'm really grateful. During my time in yachting, I had a few yachties who really contributed in one way or another, either school supplies, they provided money. Some people gave like clothing and a few other things. So it was really nice, and this year I'm hoping to build a couple of toilets, maybe about 3 toilets and 2 bathrooms for the boarding boys in school, and hopefully try to do more things to improve the school.
Well, tell me about the safari company then. How you want people from around the world to come, and can you give us an example of, what if somebody came and they said, okay, we are in your hands and we've given you, a week of our time. What could people expect?
So it's more like Tanzania. You can probably even stay a whole year and probably
Yeah.
not being able to do everything. It's a beautiful country and you can definitely do a lot. But I mean, in a quick highlight, with most of let's say if you have a short trip, maybe 7 days, the first thing that I would love to do is take you to the village, like to the Maasai village, where you witness the milking of the cows or goats, and maybe learn some of the how they do it. Barbecue would be a good one to do as well. So, and then we go to the big national parks. I'm sure everyone heard of Serengeti National Park, and you have an opportunity of seeing the big five, go to Ngorongoro as well, and mostly to Tarangire, which is the home of elephants. So if you're a big fan of elephants, you're probably being able to see plenty of them. And mostly we spend another night maybe in Arusha, do a couple maybe cooking class if you love, grab a beer. It's nice. I always tell people, make sure you you know get a cold beer here in Tanzania. It's nice local beer.
What is the type of food there actually? What would be a traditional dinner in your village?
It's basically meat. It's mostly meat, maybe rice and beans, but then we have corn, stiff porridge. It's not a bit of stiff porridge with corn, which is corn flour. So it's mostly meat and milk, and some people drink, blood if you
Yeah.
if you are for it, but that's so it's basically those. There's no like burger or pizza and all that. No, there's not unless you're in a big city.
So the barbecue is I guess, if you want some very traditional, a barbecue is essentially what would be traditional, is just meat on the grill and that's dinner.
Yeah, but we don't really grill it. We put like a stick in the meat,
Yeah.
and then we do right on. You put the stick on the floor, and then you have like wooden fire on it, burning slowly, and it's the best you can have. Best barbecue, probably better than the South African ones. Way way better.
Oh, those are fighting words for the South Africans. You know you've just started a war, you have.
It's the only way to win is if they come and see it and that I win, it's going to be better, way better than.
So you're gonna have yourself a cook-off. You know what? I want you to film that for me. If you have a cook-off with a bunch of South African yachties, I want to see that. Actually, better yet, I want to be there because I want to taste it.
Yeah, definitely. You should be there. But again, I mean, with vegetarian people as well.
Yeah.
There's Tanzania has the best green vegetables. There's no chemicals. We grow them directly, so I didn't forget them. So they will also be well good to be here. So they shouldn't be worried like,
That
oh
was
no, just
actually
meat.
my
No, it should be good.
no, that was actually going to be my next question because nowadays there's a lot of people that are vegetarian or vegan for that matter. So it is a concern that they would like to be able to eat as well. So you are able to offer them a
Yes,
proper vegan or vegetarian fare.
I, I mean, it's just better. Like I will make sure that I get information with everyone.
Yeah.
If you have an allergy with anything or you can't eat, so that we make sure that we cover everything on your side.
But the thing is too, people have to be aware that you're not in a five-star resort either. You are actually on safari. You're living on the land and you're living off the land, and it's real life.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like Tanzania is any level of accommodation. If you're up for doing the full local camping safaris, good. I'll make sure that you get it. If
Yeah.
you up for mid range, you're scared of tents and you don't want to spend the night on the tent. We get to
So
the
you
mid range
accommodate
level, and then there's
princesses as well?
and that, yeah, everyone, and the queen and the kings as well. So there's also like the luxury level. It's really up to what you really would love. At the end of the day, we will all get inside the parks and enjoy. So it's just more of what makes you comfortable to wake up in the morning and go for some adventures.
Yeah. Well, you were saying
Yes,
that you've gone back to university. What is it that you're taking at university now?
I am doing business administration, bachelor, bachelor level.
And what do you want to do with that? Is this to do with your safari company, to take your safari company further, or do you have more aspirations and dreams that you want to achieve?
I think right now it's for my business, to make sure that I have enough, sufficient information and education to run the business and to be sure that I grow up every day.
That's brilliant. Well, and if people want to help with your foundation and they're not able to go on safari or come to Tanzania, is there a way that they can actually donate and participate in helping out your village?
Yes, I have set up a way of paying. You can do most of the time. You can do bank transfer, but most people right now I have a few people who committed to do monthly donation through PayPal. So you can register with that. If anyone would love that, I can send the link. But mostly it's just PayPal. Go through Arise African Youth Foundation.
Well, actually, what we'll do is if you
Then
could
do.
send us the link, then I will make sure to provide it with this interview when it
Mhm.
airs so that people will have that right at their hands. And it's also
Okay.
going to be, of course, on Palma Yacht Crew and the affiliate sites. So it will get a lot of exposure and hopefully we'll see the ability for you to make even bigger changes in your home village. I think it's absolutely amazing what you're doing to give back because through your struggles, you have overcome many things since you've been a child, and to see you succeeding so well, and to be able to now be in a position at just 24 to be giving back is an absolute phenomenal inspiration to the rest of us. So I really need to say, congratulations, and you are definitely an inspiration to me, even though I'm I am twice your age, but
Thank you. I
I,
mean, sorry. I mean, it's there's always people praise me, but even though I have worked very hard and not giving up, there's plenty of people who have, in one way or another, have made sure that I get where I am. Some people through their prayers, through their own support. and in yachting through offering me jobs, even sometimes when they didn't need anyone, but they knew that I work hard, and they made space to, to get me on board and get me going. And I'll mostly mention Captain Caleb, Semtner. He always made time, and like I said, in Keegan Ames, they were very helpful in getting me up and running in the industry. So again, I receive credits, but there is plenty of people who got me where I am now. So I'm always grateful for everyone.
Well, it does. It takes a village to raise a child, they say, and I think it's still to this very day, it takes a village to come together to, whether it be the yachting community as a village or it doesn't. The village has very many different names to it, but you've done really well, and the people that have helped you along the way must be really, really incredibly proud.
Mhm. Thank you. Yes.
Is there anything that you feel you need to share with the community before we let you go today?
Well, I think mostly with my safari company, if you have any doubt, any questions, I'm always like a, message away, and I'm really ready and looking forward to have as many yachts come through this year and in the next couple of years. And it's going to be a great, experience. When you have a few weeks off, just get on the plane, come to Africa. It's a good way to, no need to go somewhere else. Come back here, and it'll be a great, great time.
Is there any time of the year that is better?
It depends, because most of the time during the my we have the October, which is the busy summer here. Busy be another time people might come. And for those who are doing Kilimanjaro, who are looking to do the trekking safari, it will be great. Doing September is nicer. Maybe that's what people say. It's better than most of the other months. So from September to October. But otherwise, Tanzania is generally better throughout the year. Any time of the year. Like now, January is also peak season. It's great to do it. Somewhere in the around mid-May isn't really very nice, because of rainy season. But again, somebody's ready to do, and we have really good cars, off-road and four-wheel cars. They can survive it. We just want to make sure that we mention that there's rainy season, during those months. But otherwise, any time of the year, it should be good to visit Tanzania.
Is there any time of the year that is extremely hot?
Not in Arusha, not in Arusha. Arusha is very nice throughout the year. It's very good. It's not that hot. Not like Florida. Florida is probably twice way too cold, too hot. So Arusha is really good throughout the year, and like I said, the summer is good. Good weather, and it doesn't really get cold. So most of the people here, because they come from cold areas, don't really see, like, saying it's cold for the local people, but for people here, they'll be like, no, this is perfect, this is nice. So
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
Well, Loth, I need to say thank you very much for coming on. And, anytime that you have something to share or anytime that you want to come on, if you want to send us videos of your safaris, and we can air them here on Yachting International Radio, I would really love that because for me to be able to get away for the next few years, anyways, is probably not going to be possible. But I can always live vicariously through you.
Well, maybe next time we do an interview live from here. You can always do an interview here. To be a great one,
Yeah,
isn't
that's right. There you
it?
go. We could do a live interview
So,
right there on location. I don't mind on locations. That'd be great. As long as there's a cook-off. That's my whole deal. There's got to be a cook-off going on.
well, I'm sure the first group we get will definitely do it. And make sure that but I think I might have just picked a fight that I have to make sure that I win. Otherwise, it might be very.
I think you have picked a fight because I mean I know a few of the people that around here that are South Africans and they are darn proud of their meat and how they cook it. And their bra, I think it's called bra.
Uh-huh.
I'm not even
Yes.
pronouncing it right, but oh my goodness, they are proud of that stuff. So you have picked a fight, and I can guarantee you that someone is going to bring that fight to your door, and you're going to have to prove yourself something special.
I'll be ready. I'll be ready for the fight.
Excellent. Well, thank you again, Loth. Once again, this has
Thank
been Ria for the brand new Palma Yacht Crew vlog series, and we hope you join us again here very soon. Take care.